we, given the headwinds that the new patriotic party, under the leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, had to contend with since 2017, we have built a solid foundation that will give us the opportunity. And I believe that the Ghanaians who are watching us this morning from everywhere, and the Ghanaians who will be hearing our messages in the next 4 months, are going to take us serious. And they are going to cast their votes for us to win come December 7th.
Andy, that is only on condition that Ghanaians wash their faces upwards. You know, you have laid, you have laid. Of course, I watched it downwards, and I know that is what every normal, rational human being does. Except, of course, you are afflicted by the bag of institutional insanity. Andy, you have laid a solid foundation for the economy, I suppose. So that foundation is one of debt default. You can't pay your debt. That is a great foundation. The one who was paying the debt regularly didn't have a foundation. Andy, he says that they have done well in the management of the economy. In the last 3 years, they have delivered 3 consecutive double-digit budget deficits. 12%, 12%, 12%. They hold a record of the lowest ever growth rate in our history, 0.4%. Right? Last year's growth rate was... No, I beg your pardon. My brother. Oh, I kept quiet when you spoke. I kept quiet out of deference to you. And I know that you are a gentleman's gentleman, so I'm surprised about this interruption. Randy, point me to any country in the world that has the sort of economy we have post-COVID. Why? The US. They were not... In fact, they lost 1 million human beings. 1 million. And given the robustness of their healthcare system, if they lost 1 million, it means that the impact of COVID was grave. And their inflation didn't go anywhere near 10%. Oh, I beg your pardon. No. Did it go anywhere near 10%? Even your peers. Oh, I beg your pardon. Okay, so you did 10%. You did 54%. 54. And the level of COVID in UK, if it ever afflicted Ghana, our country will collapse. You simply don't even have the systems in place to deal with it. COVID was very mild on you. And the RPS, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Nigeria, even lowly Guinea, afflicted by political instability, didn't post the horrible results that you posted. COVID for you was a pretext to misbehave economically. You squandered our money, wasted it on electioneering. See, and then recorded a deficit of 15%, the highest in our history. That is what led us into the precipice. It was not COVID. Cote d'Ivoire. When Akufo-Addo was campaigning, he and Bawumia, their favorite comparator was Cote d'Ivoire. To the extent that he even demanded that electricity prices in Ghana should be the same as Cote d'Ivoire. So let's use Cote d'Ivoire as a comparator. Randy, Cote d'Ivoire, they didn't have COVID. Or Cote d'Ivoire, they are en masse. Togo, Benin. As well, they even paid rent for their citizens at the height of COVID. They didn't record the disastrous economic numbers. So Bawumia, as head of the economic management team, has been a washout. The worst in our history. Total disaster. Catastrophic performance. So the idea that you even attempt to compare him with Mahama is a huge joke. Check Mahama's economic record, both as president and as vice president. And Mahama's economic growth in 2013 was 7.2%. 7.2. Even when we had to do so, his economic record never slipped below 3% in terms of growth rates. He never recorded the sort of deficits we've recorded. And he resolved doing so before he left. You have inherited 40 billion Ghana cedis funds in ESLA. If Mahama had that kind of money, if previous governments had that kind of money, do you know what difference it would have made? You inherited a gas plant that saves you $300 million in fuel imports. And yet, you were able to plunge us into doom for months. And as I speak, they owe more than 30 billion Ghana cedis to IPPs and other stakeholders in the energy sector. After getting 40 billion Ghana cedis in ESLA, Mahama didn't have that kind of debt when he was president in the energy sector. You have received close to 1 trillion cedis in the total resource envelope. Bawumia was the one who was going around telling them, Randy, revenue, both tax and non-tax, borrowing, And every means through which government gets money, gold, oil, diamond, everything that we get, close to $1 trillion. I beg your pardon. That is inflation. You know it. It's not real GDP. You know it. We can go into that, but this is not the plan. Oh, let me make my point. I beg your pardon. But in terms of raw revenue, how much money has come into your kitty? Bawumia was going around telling Ghanaians that we had 248 billion in the 8 years of the NDC. You've had 5 times that. And yet the outcomes are that we are bankrupt. We can't pay our debts. Even at a time when you are not servicing debt, your exchange rate is the worst in our history. At a time when you are not servicing debt, your interest rate is at 40%. Your deficit double-digit for 3 consecutive years. In any event, all the noise that you make about what is your highest growth rate? Just around 8%. Even then, on the back of substantial work done by the NDC, as predicted by the IMF in November of 2016, President Mahama's highest growth rate is 14.4%.
Oh, please, come on.
I beg your pardon. Come on, what? Come on, what? When Bawumia was touting. Oh, I beg your pardon. Let me make my point. Did we not record 14.4% in our history?
It was not sustainable.
No, what was not sustainable? You did 8%. I beg your pardon.
It was first oil.
I beg your pardon. Hussein, the 8% that you did, was it not on the back of an 80% growth in oil production?
We have shown.
I beg your pardon.
17, 18, 19.
I beg your pardon. Why? From 20 to now, is it my grandmother's pet who was managing the economy? So what do you mean 17, 18, 19? 2019 to now. Is the dog down the streets there that has been managing the economy? So what happened to that? Or your tenure ended in 2019. President Mahama, when you use 8 years to assess him, why? He is not a human being. Or the blood that flows through his veins is blue.
Sustainability.
What's sustainable? Randy, in 2010, before oil production, we grew by 8%. In 2013, we grew by 7%. In 2012, we grew by 9.2%. All achievements of President Mahama. He was first the head of the economic management team. Your talkative Bawumia, the highest he's achieved is 8%. The lowest is 0.4%. The worst in our history. So there's no way, there's no indicator, not one, in which you've done better than President Mahama. And you've done that on the back of 3 oil fields. In 2016, and at a point we were doing just 70,000 barrels of oil a day because of difficulties with the oil field. Today, you have 200,000 barrels of oil a day.
With no difficulties, no challenges.
Why? That 1 trillion that Ghanaians are giving you. Ghanaians were not paying the COVID levy under us. They were not paying e-levy. I beg your pardon. They were not paying e-levy. They were not paying e-levy.
Without oil.
Ghanaians didn't get
oil.
You didn't. We didn't get 9 billion. I beg your pardon. Which without oil? After the non-oil growth under the NDC, it was 8% in 2010. 8%, equivalent to your 3 oil field growth in 2017. But our highest growth with oil, just 1 field, was 14.4. Your highest is 8. Since then, it's been declining to 0.4. The worst in our history.
It was first oil.
Which one is first oil? Which one is first oil? Randy, the total amount of first oil we got, when you put everything together, the highest level of production was 120,000. Today, with 3 fields, you get 200,000. So at 120,000, we grew at 14.4. And in 2008, like I'm telling you, you recorded that because there was an 80% increase in oil production. 80% increase in oil production, above what you came to meet. And since then, it's been declining. And the COVID has not been around for 4 years now. So it cannot be blamed. No. It is your mismanagement, your deliberate waste, your deliberate waste. When you were borrowing by heart, when the minority was telling you that you were reaching critical point by 2019, you kept on saying that you were managing the economy well. By 2020, it boomeranged in your face. By 2021, you were using 92% of your revenue to service debt. In 2016, we used 35%. So it means that we had about 65% space.
10.8.
Oh, I beg your pardon. But that's double digits. Is it? No, it's not true. That's your below the line item to it must be dismissed now.
You see,
you cannot use and pick. I beg your pardon. Please. Oh, Randy, it is not true. 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 Fuseni, you are interrupting me. You are interrupting me unfair.
But,
I kept quiet for you. Randy, it is not true.
Felix, just hold on 1 minute.
Contingent liabilities have always added to our debt.
Below the debt. They're below the line.
It's not SOE debt.
Was it SOE debt?
It wasn't just SOE debt. It even included
It was
the
banking sector.
No, it was a conscious
decision.
Easy. Randy, let me make my point.
I just want to.
When I do a budget, right?
Hussein,
When I do a budget, let me explain. Let me explain why.
SOE debt.
It was
the below the line had nothing to do with SOE.
And I'm saying I have gone beyond to tell you.
No, do you agree?
It included the banking sector cleanup. The banking sector
but who put the gun to
the banking sector cleanup, right, was not an everyday.
Let's try and respect our viewers.
Charlie,
you made the claim. You said that the below the line
when
was
you say I
SOE
should
debt.
respect your viewers, you know me. I mean, when you keep saying that, as if I'm disrespecting your views.
No, that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing.
That is not me. I don't think so.
Look, people are watching.
Come on.
You might not have intended doing that, but that's what you're doing. Come
on. By disrupting me, that's what you're doing. That's why I kept quiet.
No.
Oh yes, I kept quiet.
No, because see,
if
I were watching the show, and I heard you, the assumption I'll make is that the below the line had to do with SOE debt. It had nothing to do with SOE debt.
Randy, in any event,
let's move.
Randy, it's not. Oh, I beg your pardon.
I thought.
Let me make my. I think you have to be fair to me.
No, I don't think we've.
You have to be fair to me.
Do you insist that below the line was SOE debt?
I am saying that when I do a budget, right? I will
Randy,
include.
it's starting to waste our time. Randy,
below
you see, Randy, that's why I said. You see, Randy,
below the
Randy,
extraordinary items.
Within my budget. Randy, in 2000, Randy, in 2008, Randy, it's not true. In 2008, if you check the final budget of the MPP, they captured the one-off expenditure on resolving Dumso. It was an extraordinary event. It started between 2007 and 2008. It was not the case all the 8 years they were in power. Now lie. Under us, that was an extraordinary event because it was a space of about 2.5 to 3 years out of 8 years. So that's why I've been talking about institutional insanity the whole day. The very things that we all know to be true, the MPP says no. You arrogate to yourself the right to hide some expenditure so that your books will look better than they actually are. That is what has caught up with you. And it's not the first time that the IMF has classified the SOE debt as part of government debt. They do it all the time. Anytime they do their DSE, it is there, black and white. So it's not the first time. SOE debt has formed part of our debt. But your approach to governance is telling lies, cooking figures, doing things that are out of the ordinary in order to appear better than you actually are.